most intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and with me, as always, is the co-host with the most. You know him as Jive Turkey Nano. How are we doing, brother?
Let's go. Doing great, brother. Great to see you here. Happy Thursday, a.k.a. Friday Junior. We are alive. We are thriving, and I'm excited to dive on in, baby. We're taking a quick trip to Seattle. Fun fact, it has been over 11 years since the UFC's been to Seattle. The last headliner there was Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, defending his belt. That's how far back it was, ladies and gents. I was in high school, way back yonder. Jorge Masvidal defeated Michael Chiesa. Robbie Lawler was in the mix. But my brother, memory lane is over. We're back in the present. It is a gift. It is a gift to be here with you, my brother. Can't wait to dive in, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. You heard the man, folks. We are live, and he is Jive, and we are here to break down these fights for you at UFC Seattle. It has been some time since we've made our way over yonder and across the way to Seattle. But we are here this Saturday, and I cannot wait to see the action. Obviously, we've got to address the elephant in the room here, folks. First and foremost, there has been, I think, more cancellations on this card than potentially any other card in the history of non-Vegas cards, right? So look, this is just a crazy night of cancellations. Ketlin Vieira versus Macy Chasson, Mansour Abdul Malik versus Antonio Tricoli, Adam Forget About It against Billy Ray Goff, Adam Forget About It against Islam Dulatov. I mean, dude has just been looking for a fight, as Dana White likes to say. And then, of course, on the main card, Rob Font coming in against Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz, of course, had to pull out of the fight and ultimately retire with the damage that had been done to his body over the years. And before I continue going over these, I gotta say, what up, Sav? Love seeing you in the chat, and love seeing you succeed. Love all the news that's coming your way lately. And shout out to the Karate Combat announcement, my friend. If you're not already following at Sav Jelly, make sure you do. She is a karate combat connoisseur of sorts. She actually works for the org and attends most of the events. So, shout out Brianna Frost in the chat. Always happy to see you here as well. We'll hit you with the air horns also. Happy Thursday, as we like to call it, Friday Junior. So yeah, I mean, Hob Fanch versus Dominic Cruz. That's a tough cancellation. Curtis Blades, Razor Blades, against Rizvan Khuniev. That sucks. And of course, Edson Barboza versus Steve Garcia. I mean, that was the fight I think we were probably most excited about between you and me both. And arguably most of the fans that are listening right now. With that being said, those are the cancellations. That's the news, folks. That's the way it goes, unfortunately. But I digress. We're going to jump into the first actual fight that is happening, Nano. That first fight begins in the heavyweight, the light heavyweight division. And it is between Modestas Bukauskas coming in against Rafael Cerqueira. Man, oh, Manowitz. This is going to be a fun fight. Rafael Cerqueira came into the UFC very hot, riding the streak of 11-0, and quickly learned that he's not the only guy inside of the UFC octagon that has indeed come to make a name for himself out here. And I mean, he got turned back pretty quickly, right? Ibo Aslan came out there and put the business on him in his last fight. So I think this is probably going to be more of the same. And I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's time for our guy Modestas Bukauskas to get back into the winners column. And I think this is going to be a good chance for him to do just that. Nano, what are your thoughts on this fight, and how do you see it going? Am I crazy thinking it's going to be a Bukauskas comeback here?
Not at all, my brother. Not at all. We are setting the tone here, hive-minding it. I think partially maybe because we both feel safer with the Modestas Bukauskas, someone we've seen in the UFC octagon much more than a Rafael Cerqueira, who in flashes and in a flash pan, in a vacuum, dude has some great skills. He's talented. He's the Lion, a.k.a. Rafael here, coming off a loss most recently. Not great for him, and that was his UFC debut. He's 34 years old. Great record at 11-1, but again, just haven't seen enough from him. And what I have seen, there are some flashes, but I trust my boy Modestas, man. Something about Modestas, whether it's just the big imposing threat that he has in the octagon, but also, I mean, dude's a savage. He's big, strong. He's explosive as well for a light heavyweight. He's bouncing around, doing flips. Like, dude's a really good athlete. And he's been training with our boy Tom Aspinall, the one, the only, the heavyweight champ of the world right now. And ever since then, he's been improving his skills. Oh. Let's go, the boy. Who might be fighting sooner than later. Shout out Dana White for all the recent news. We do have to dive on into that at some point here. We'll see that for the end, y'all. Curious to get your feedback.
Stick around to the end, folks. We'll get into that juicy stuff.
Absolutely. There's 26 of y'all in here now. If you haven't had a chance yet, if you're on the YouTubes, or if you can, go hop over, like, subscribe, smash the bell for notifications as well. We appreciate it. It does wonders for us. But enough about us. Let's get back to the fights here. Again, Modestas, 6-4 record since his debut back in 2020, with wins over Tyson Pedro, and then, like we were talking about, most recently over Marcin Prachnio. Two names, two grizzled vets. Now, let's call a spade a spade. A 6-4 record is not, ideal 60% ratio. Before I keep going, Matua, what up? See you in the chat. Rafaela's hot dog water. Yikes. Not something I would want to drink, but if hot dog water means you're eating hot dogs, then by all means, it's not a bad outing. It's not a bad outing, right? Hot dog's a layup. That's a safe pick. That's a good at bat. That's a good base hit. It's like a bunt if we're talking baseball terms. So I'll take a bunt all day. I digress. All to say, man, I just don't know if Rafael has the firepower needed to get rid of a Modestas Bukauskas here, who does have losses to a Khalil Roundtree and a Vitor Petrino. I don't think Rafael's got that kind of dog in him. Not to say he's not a dog. He is a lion. But I think he's still a little puppy lion. I think he's still a Simba at this point. I think Modestas is going to go out there and get it done. Before I keep going, Osterberry, shout out, MMAnomaly, and Jive Turkey, punch. Like and subscribe and all that other good stuff. You know the vibes. Listen to the man. Heard it here first. Fresh off the press. Let's go. Other than that, back to you, my brother. And again, we're hive-minded here. Got to go Modestas. Probably by decision. But I like what I'm seeing from him. Trending in the right direction at 31 years young. Let's go.
Yeah, man, it's going to be the Modestas Bukauskas comeback show, I think, early on in the evening or early on in the afternoon, right? It starts at 3 p.m. PST. For those of you on the East Coast, that means 6 p.m. start time for these prelims. And moving right on ahead, we got my first dog pick of the night, boys and girls. Fight fans of all shapes and sizes. That's right. We have Ricky Simon coming in against Javid Basharat. But I hear that the dogs, they bark in the backyard, folks. And I'm going with Ricky Simon for that reason. He is a wily veteran. He is more well-rounded in his career, in my humble opinion. But before I take all the meat off this bone, I took the lead on the last one. Nano, who you got, my friend?
Oh, thank you, my brother. And I was curious to hear your breakdown. And it sounds like you are on the underdog, our boy Ricky Simon. And man, it's crazy to say this, y'all, but I am actually on the same page here. I too like my underdogs, okay? I'm not just drinking the Kool-Aid. We have a good reason why we're going with this grizzled veteran, and it's exactly that, right? We've seen Ricky Simon do it over and over again. He's truly developed into a staple of the division. 32 years young, which is crazy to say. 20-6 record. He made his debut back in 2018, and it was a fiery, fun bout against the one, the only Merab the Machine Dvalishvili, where he did beat him in quote-unquote controversial fashion. We could dive into that another time, but he beat him, okay? And that really showed the type of dog that Ricky Simon is. Ever since then, he's never out of a fight, even though he does have some losses under his belt, but he's fought just about everybody in the division at the highest level, with that 8-5 record. Some losses as of recent, right? We're looking at some of those guys. Before I keep going here, shout out Matua. Pretty Ricky's relentless pursuit of takedowns is impressive. You're absolutely right. That's one thing that makes him a little different than the next man. I mean, he was able to outmachine someone like Merab way back when. He still has a lot left in the tank, and it's that bulldog kind of style that he operates with. He's has that boxing kind of stance. He's short, compact, but he's willing to go out and wrestle. And I think that's going to have to be the difference maker here. He's going to have to go out and make it a grindy, windy fight. Get inside, stay inside, grapple, test out Javid's wrestling, because that's really the only question mark with him at this point. Javid Basharat is somebody that is definitely trending in the right direction. A new generation fighter, as Ilya would kindly coin nowadays here, but he's not perfect, right? He's 29 years old, 14-1 record. Not perfect. He just lost that pretty recently to Ayman Sahabi. I'm curious to hear your breakdown more in terms of the X's and O's, but a couple of things that stick out to Javid is just his fun striking pedigree, the leg kicks, the stance switches, the 1-2s. Like, he's got a really good arsenal. I just don't know if he has an answer for, again, that bulldog wrestling kind of put my head in your chin, get underneath you, and muddy it up. Like, if Ricky stays in the phone booth here, I think he's going to find a way to edge out a decision. If Javid can stay outside and use his range with the striking that he poses, unfortunately, we've seen Ricky be on the other side of those decisions. And styles make fights here. That's why I'm excited for this one, my brother. This is going to be an absolute banger. I can't believe we're getting Ricky at dog odds. Give it to me straight, nice and neat, like I like my whiskey. I'm going to dish it back to you, my brother. Hopefully there's some bone left, but I'm curious to hear your breakdown and why we like our dog in this one.
Not only do we like our dog in this one, my friend, and first and foremost, great breakdown. Matua is saying Pretty Ricky for the unanimous decision, and honestly, you can get even juicier odds on that. I'm going to keep it real with you folks, though. I did not take them. I didn't take them on unanimous decision. I just took them straight money line because, I mean, with all due respect, and I do declare, they're giving them to us at plus 205 on this money line. So you got to take that. It's just, it feels like free money almost. But why does it feel like free money? Well, when we look at what Javid Basharat has done, right? The snow leopard, he's come in here previously against somebody like an Ayman Zahabi, who, make no mistake, he is a beast. But if you're going to let Ayman Zahabi outstrike you, and he didn't even mix in one takedown attempt in the mix, what is our boy Pretty Ricky about to do to you, brother? Like, I truly feel like the mixing in of takedowns is going to just make the striking that much easier for Ricky Simon. And he's not known predominantly as a striker, right? But in the factor of Johnny Hendricks, who came into the UFC as a wrestler, once you're so worried about the wrestling, you start having your hands very low, which makes you susceptible to crazy strong overhands. And let me tell you, those wrestlers, they've got those in spades, brother. So I see this one going poorly for Javid Basharat. I see it going very well for the opposition, Ricky Simon. Again, putting a straight bet on him. And if you stick around for the end of the show, you'll see what part of a parlay he is going to be as well, folks. I just think, again, the grappling separates him. The distance management is going to be better for him. Javid Basharat's best thing that he brings to the table is a crispy 1-2 and somewhat decent head movement. The footwork is not going to be there for him, and if the footwork isn't there for him, God help him with a grappler like Ricky Simone. He's not going to be able to shoot those hips out. I think he's going to be in danger. He also went 0 for 4 in takedown attempts against Ayman Zahabi. Pretty telling. He's not going to be able to present a wrestling forward opposition for somebody like Ricky Simone to slow down the onslaught of inevitable takedown attempts. So with that being said, we move on into the next one, folks. It is a middleweight bout between Nursultan Ruziboyev coming in against Eric Mechanico. Not to be confused with Mechanical. I was just looking for an excuse to use that soundbite again. We don't say the machine often enough, and Mechanico does sound way too close to mechanical, and I know it's a bad dad joke. It's okay if I get the crickets on that one, you know.
A little bit of a reach, but we'll take it. We'll allow it.
It's okay. Speaking of a reach, putting in this guy, I don't know. Putting in this guy that is 9-2-1 against a man that has over 40 fights. It feels like a bit of a mishandle here, right? If I'm being honest. And I did high voice, so you know I'm serious here. I think Nursultan Ruziboyev is about to come out here and do work. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more than that. I just think that he's going to dominate this fight anywhere that it goes. I don't think that it's going to be the worst situation for his opponent, right? Because he's still in the UFC. Congrats on that. But I just think this is a terrible, terrible short straw to draw. And I simply think he has not had nearly enough experience to come in here against somebody like Ruziboyev. I think Ruziboyev will probably look for the takedown, blast double pretty early on in this fight. He'll probably shoot a takedown the first 45 seconds. And once he gets his opponent down, probably look to control him. His opponent has lost 2 knockout losses, never been submitted, never gone to decision and lost. I actually think he'll probably take one of those zeros away from him. I can see him winning by submission. I could also see him winning by decision, just a relentless onslaught again of takedowns and grappling control. The man across from him in Nursultan Ruziboyev has 20 submission wins. Dude has twice as many submission wins as his opponent has fights professionally. Get out of town, Charlie Brown. That's just stupid. I don't agree with the matchmaking here. I don't understand it other than maybe they just want to build realistically another fighter from Uzbekistan. Outside of that, no. What are you reading from this one, man?
Yeah, I'm reading the same page as you are, my brother. We are reading the same language here. We are on the same wavelength, on the same note, in the same key. Listen, y'all, Nursultan is an absolute Dow, okay? Ruziboyev is a savage, 31 years old. He has more fights than he has years on this planet. He has more knockouts alone in 12 than his opponent has fights professionally, period. And his opponent has 3 more years of time on this planet Earth. So not a lot of things I'm seeing that are going well for my boy Eric Mechanico. He's making his UFC debut. Hell of a name to square off against. I guess, hey, you got nothing to lose, right? And you never want to overlook your opponent. I don't think Nursultan's the type to do that. So although he's got a major platform and potentially the chance to make a name for himself, I don't think it'll be a good name, unfortunately. Maybe we'll see him around if he could obviously make it a good scrap. I guess the one caveat is he is a bigger dude, I believe. He might have fought at light heavyweight, or this might, maybe it's a short notice fight. Either way, I mean, Nursultan at a 6'5", 170, dudes with the kind of wrestling he has, and really it's felt like he was on a rocket ship to the top. Joaquin Buckley stole that rocket ship and said, I'm going to go ahead and be a contender now. See you later. But Nursultan has all the skills, like you talked about, brother. I mean, there's no blemishes I see. And for this guy, Eric, to make his debut and to beat him with just, like I just mentioned, not a lot of, nothing stands out when it comes to just the statistics here or outside of a puncher's chance. you got to go with Nursultan. Take the safe bet, even though he is going to be the betting favorite here. Maybe even chase a finish. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a submission or a KO, as opposed to maybe just taking a money line would be my pick there. Let's go.
Love that. Love that. And folks, obviously, if you're here and you've kept up with us, if you've been watching the whole episode thus far, first and foremost, kudos to you. Give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it, folks. And secondly, you probably noticed that we skipped around a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and blame DraftKings Sportsbooks. They had the bout order all out of whack. But you know what? We've had like 32 bouts shift on this card, so that's fine. We're going back. We're raking them up, as you can tell. We skipped ahead to Ricky Simone momentarily. We went back to, we just hit the Ruzenboev Mechanico breakdown. And now we got to move on forward into a catchweight bout between Nikolai Veretnikov, which sounds like a Captain America villain's name, coming in against Austin Vanderford, who sounds like an Austin Powers side character. Look, folks, Mr. Paige Van Zandt has been signed to the UFC. You heard it. You heard it here first. It happened. It's real. He's making his debut on, 3 days notice? 4 days notice now? Good on him. Stepping in on short notice to face the 12-5 similar record, Nikolai Veretnikov. You know, Austin Vanderford is 12-2. I think that this is going to be a fun enough fight. I don't think it's going to be fight of the night necessarily. I think I'm just going to keep this one brief, and I'll leave a lot of meat on the bone for you on this one, Nano. I think Austin Vanderford, aka Mr. Van Zandt, shout out Sav Jelly. Thanks for that one. I think he gets it done. I think he gets it done in less than impressive fashion. I would go decision on this one, if I'm being real with you. Am I going to bet on it? No. I mean, it's a dead pick 'em at -110 for both guys. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to pick on either of them right now. And let's see. Do we even get... Yeah, I'm not seeing direct odds on style of finish or how it finishes. So no method of victory, no bet for me. Because I think this one goes to a grindy decision. Yeah. What are your reads on this one, man? Especially at catchweight on short notice.
Yeah, all the above, right? From a Ben perspective, a lot of reasons you probably want to just stay away from it. Catchweight, short notice, both these guys have an accumulative one fight in the UFC, so it's almost unknown what we're going to see, how they're going to react, the skill level. But obviously we know Austin Vanderford as Mr. Paige Van Zandt there for those reasons alone, I guess, can be beneficial for the UFC. Maybe that's why you lead them off here. And for the record, Sav Jelly, I know you may have forgot about Mr. Van Zandt. Apparently my co-host here did as well. I was prepared to set the tone with Mr. Vanderford, but we jump around, baby. We roll the punches. We are live and we are unscripted. So I was, Philly shelling with that as well, baby. But let it be known, I was ready. Come on, baby. No, I just want to subtle jab at my co-host here. But all jokes aside, yeah, man, listen, we're going to keep all the meat on the bones as needed because it's let it be there. We'll save it. It's one of those meat bones maybe you give to the dogs. Just let them go ahead and chew it up, have a day with it, drop it on the ground. All good. That's all you, boo-boo.
We'll let Luna break that one down on a follow-up episode, folks.
Exactly. Be rooting for some violence. Austin's got a good jab to him. He's got some knockout power. At 34 years old, he took a couple years off. That hiatus definitely doesn't sit well with me. Again, Ben-wise, I want to root for him, but I'm not going to bet for him. I just don't know what to expect there. And like you said, 42% decision, 25% sub, 33% KO. And that's for this fight. That's what we're thinking. Yeah.
No, that's Vanderford's history in professional fighting. That's how he finishes fights. 42% of the time by decision, 25% of the time by submission, and 33% of the time by knockout or TKO. That's why I'm heavily leaning towards decision, especially with less than a full training camp here.
Yeah, both guys are smart fighters. Nikolai went the distance with the Danny Barlow, with the left hand from God. He was able to survive that. It was a grindy, windy fight, but he was on the opposite side of it. Split decision. Danny Barlow's 3-0. So the level of competition, we'll see. But Wouldn't be surprised if Nikolai gets it done. On that note, making the walk. What up, boys? Hey, Seth. Nano's hat game is always on point. Crispy Ace hat. Ooh, my brother. Come on. You see me? Thank you, man. You know, our athletics, Oakland Athletics, you know, as they're leaving, I feel like I had to try to get all the merch I could. So appreciate you making the walk and making the talk as well. We appreciate you. Go check them out. All 41 of you listening right now. Go check them out. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Love to see making the walk in here. Jax is a quality maker of content. If you love MMA stuff, then you should definitely love his channel at Making the Walk, folks. With that being said, we got to move on into the next fight. Is a middleweight bout, folks. Look, on this show, we will always try not to mansplain things, but on Saturday, you're going to see some Mansurs, okay? Mansur Abdul Malik, to be more specific. Hey, on this show, one thing you can count on is bad jokes, all right? They're going to keep coming. And he's coming against Nick Klein, folks, a man that is 6-1 in his professional career. Mansur Abdul Malik, of course, coming in at 7-0. It is 6'2 versus 6'1 in terms of height and 79.5 inches of reach on the left side for Mansur, 77 inches of reach for Nick Klein. So we are looking at a 2.5-inch reach deficit for Nick Klein. And look, I'm going to pass it to the co-host to take this one first, but I definitely have some thoughts on how this one plays out.
Yeah, my brother. I mean, this one's an interesting bout for sure. Obviously, the name alone in Mansur, I feel like I'm just looking at it. I want to say with like a French accent, like Monsieur or something.
Monsieur.
Cool. Monsieur.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Bonjour, monsieur. You are a monster, monsieur. Because that's exactly what he is, man. He's a monster out there. He's 2-0 in the UFC. 6 wins by finish, by KO. 100% finish rate, 6 KOs, 1 sub, and 7-0 record. Listen, man, the reality is he's a minus 1,200, and I repeat, minus 1,200 betting favorite right now to win over a Nick Klein. Yeah, that's higher than Peyton Talbot was. I can't recall the last time I've seen, 4 digits behind these odds in terms of how heavy the favorite is. So that's just crazy in and of itself. I guess if I had to put my Vegas cap on and try to, exchange this out for a Las Vegas cap and think, why am I going to put so much of a betting favorite on Monsieur? And I think a lot of it goes into just when you look at him. I mean, the dude, he's a big boy. Obviously, statistically speaking, he's always gotten it done. So you could look at it that way. But he's got big, strong legs. He's got a fast jab. And he's got those quick twitch reflexes that allow him to generate a lot of power from inside, close range, kind of fading those awkward positions in a phone booth, like my boy MMAnomaly's showing us here. If you're not watching, it's worth going on to the YouTubes and checking out live in the flesh. But listen, man, he might be special, y'all. He really might. I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts. We got 45 of us in here currently. Is he worth that kind of odds, right? A minus 1,200, again, to reiterate. Can't bet against him. I mean, Nick Klein, from a striker perspective, I didn't really see a lot that stuck out to me. In fact, he has a weird kind of wonky style and stance to him. I don't know if it's just to ultimately look for the submission threat. That is where he was able to secure a win back in his Dana White Contender Series debut. So I guess, man, I'm going to stay away from it from a bettor's perspective. I'm going with our boy Monsieur. If you feel some type of way, let us know, because this seems like it might just be a landslide. So we'll have to enjoy the fight for as long as it lasts. Talk to me, my brother. Hopefully you got a little bit more to break down here. What are we missing? Who is this guy, Monsieur?
Man, look, I think you hit the nail on the head. And before I even jump into the breakdown, shout out Valadizi in the chat. Love seeing you here, my guy. Hope you're having a great night. Look, again, you hit the nail on the head here, Nano. I think it's going to be power and striking versus awkwardness and the submission threat. The submission threat is an inevitability when it comes to the man that's standing across from him here. With that being said, look, my better judgment is saying that Vegas is getting this one right. So don't tell me on this. If I were to do a don't tell parlay as some of the cappers do, this would probably be that one. But I do feel so inclined to put like a fifth of a unit on this one. I think you might be bonkers not to, because we haven't really seen Menser's grappling get tested on that level, right? And these awkward guys typically have a weird way of getting things done. So I like Menser in this one. I think he is the better fighter, more well-rounded. I do think he is obviously the more polished striker, way stronger striker, more knockout threat here. But the threat of the submission is always there. And when you are a heavy striker with heavy hands, you risk two things. Leaving openings, right? Every time you throw something that's heavy, you're leaving an opening in some way, shape, or form. If you're throwing wide hooks, people will be able to duck and get those quick blast doubles or inside singles, right? Same thing with if you get on top and you're throwing crazy hammer fist and you're trying to get the finish. With somebody that's a very skilled grappler, they will be able to get sweeps from that position and or catch a baseball grip on an arm and very quickly yank up an armbar or or switch from an armbar to a triangle choke. So I really like this fight from a betting perspective. And by betting perspective, I mean I'm not betting the guy that's minus 1,200, because why would I? That's crazy. I'm already betting on some underdogs here, and I think these other underdogs are going to hit. So with that being said, I am going to bet on Nick Klein. I am going to take him at money line plus 750. You can put a fifth of a unit on him, folks, and get 1.7 units back. Why wouldn't we do that? And by we, I mean me. You guys don't follow me on this one. Only bet with money you can afford to lose. That's why we're doing a fifth of a unit on it instead of a whole unit, folks. So with that being said, yeah, I'm going to put a fifth of a unit on Nick Klein money line. And this next fight is one that I am going to stay away from when it comes to betting, because I'm just too darn excited about it. And I just want to enjoy it from a fan perspective. I really like both these guys. It's one where I really don't want either guy to lose, but unfortunately, I know one guy has to lose, right? Andre Touchy-Feely coming into the featherweight division. Across from him will be Melquizael Costa. This is a nasty matchup, Nano. I don't think I've been this excited for a fight since probably a week ago, because I get very excited for most fights. But this is one I'm very excited for, folks. All jokes aside, Andre Touchy-Feely, obviously, we met him in Vegas last year, International Fight Week. Always be behind this guy. I met him at UFC Sacramento years before that. But man, Melquizael Costa has just been he's just been a son of a bitch, right? He is an absolute monster inside of that cage. But with all things being considered, he's coming in with a 3-inch reach disadvantage. And with all due respect, somebody in Andre Touchy-Feely who knows how to use every inch of that reach. Somebody that stands awkwardly at range, pop, 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 pumping that jab out, pop, pop, pop. As soon as you get a read on the jab, just switch into the uppercut. He's nasty with it. He's slick with it. And as soon as you start to get a beat on the striking, here comes that takedown. All the grappling that comes from Team Alpha Male. And God forbid you shoot for a takedown on him. Team Alpha Male's got a hell of a guillotine, folks. So, with all of that being said, I like Andre Feely in this one. Again, betting perspective, not going to bet on it. Just not going to bet on it. Folks in the chat right now, who do you have in this one? Andre Touchy-Feely or Melquizael Costa? We got over 50 of you watching us right now. We appreciate each and every one of you. Nano's going to do his breakdown, and then we're going to pour up a shot for you 50 folks.
Oh, my goodness. Tell me why I was going to recommend that. I was literally going to grab the bottle, my brother, because this feels like we need a drink for our man, Andre Touchy-Feely, man. This is the boy, okay? Repping Sacramento. An absolute dog, an absolute legend in the UFC. I got to pour one out for him, man. But listen, y'all. I know MMAnomaly, and like we all recommend, if you're going to, well, don't gamble at all. If you're going to do it, do it responsibly. Okay.
Talk me into it.
Or, maybe you do it for bragging rights, right? Or you just want to be the one that's at the casual party they're on. Oh, this guy, Andre Touchy-Feely, cool name. You know what? Maybe I want to go for this guy. Listen, here's the reason why, okay? Andre Touchy-Feely is going to find a way to go out there and get it done because he always finds a way to go out there and get it done. And he's been doing it time after time again, year after year, y'all. He first fought in the UFC in 2013. 12 years in this goddamn game, y'all. 12-10 record. Okay, let's call it what it is. But listen, my brother, he's fought absolute legends. Andre Touchy-Feely has fought all the who's who's. I'm talking literal Hall of Famers, y'all. I mean, we could pull it up here in a second, and I'll let you go into your breakdown as well. Well, furthermore, what I should say is why I think you didn't want to bet on this one, and why I feel like I'm gonna put at least a unit of my hard-earned cash money on the boy repping Sacramento is because he's been in there with the who's who's, okay? He's fought literally everybody. I mean, I'm going to go down the laundry list real quick. Granted, a lot of these are losses, right? But he's shared the octagon with the Max Holloway, y'all. He has shared the octagon with the Yadir Rodriguez. A Calvin Kattar, he beat an Artem Lobov. He fought against a Michael Johnson. They had some really great back and forth. It was a split decision loss. A Sadiq Youssef, who is now acting as well, a legend. Our boy, Charles Jourdain, Air Jourdain. Nathaniel, made of freaking bamboo wood. And then Dan 50K Ige. I mean, come on, my brother. And then the last one that we were in Vegas to not see, live in the flesh, but at our local Twin Peaks, shout out. Cub Swanson, absolute banger. Pretty sure that was fight of the night. Got a bonus for it. We ended up seeing him as we were fumbling through the casinos trying to find our secret pizza. We found Andre Touchy-Feely. And we said, what up, my brother? Ice up, man. Great fight. You're a legend. So for that, and like you said, we've known back in the Sacramento days, a card that we both were at. I'll digress. Listen, man, how do you bet against him, right? He's a betting favorite right now. He has all the skills, and frankly, it's just one of those Mary Poppin things, right? Like anything that Milk can do, he can do better, right? That's all it is. Anything he can do a little bit better now. And he's been in there, and he's been in those wars, and he knows what it's like to be in that deep ocean. He knows what that pressure is. He knows how bright those lights are. He's going to go out there and get it done. I'm putting at least a unit on him, money line straight up. If anything, it's going to be like a third round finish, or like Melky's going to start to fade. We haven't seen him in those deep waters. He has some L's under his record, right? He did lose to our boy who is supposed to be fighting, who is one of my UFC fantasy fighters. So we're talking about our boy Steve Garcia. And he lost to a Diego Moises. Listen, man, Andre Touchy-Feely is going to get it done. Mark my words. If you got $1 to spare, put it on Andre Touchy-Feely.
You talked me into it. If you're putting a unit on him, I'm putting 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all shapes and sizes, you heard it here first. We're not putting 1. We're not putting 2. We're putting 3 units on this guy. He's the boy. He's the hometown hero. He is Andre Touchy-Feely. And I'm feeling a little touchy-feely with these bets tonight, folks. Let's go. Cheers to you. Cheers to everybody watching right now. If you drink, raise one up and do a shot with us. If you don't, do a shot of water. Do a quick inhalation of air. Raw dog that air for 10 seconds, folks. Either way, we appreciate you. Make sure if you're watching on anywhere other than YouTube, you march on over to YouTube, even if it's just for this moment. Hit the like, hit the comment, hit the subscribe, smash the bell for notifications, and give yourself a pat on the back because you deserve it, folks. Happy Friday, Junior. Cheers to you.
Salute, y'all. I did have to fact check myself. I don't know if that song is actually from Mary Poppins. It's from a play or something, right? Annie? What is it? Anything you can do?
What was the song again?
That anything you can do, I can do better. I can do
anything better than you know you can. Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. No, you can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
I think that may have been Annie.
It is Annie, huh? Like it's Broadway. Annie. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody fact check us on that. We don't want to be fake news.
Sorry, y'all.
We don't want to be fake news. We can't do that. You don't say that. That being said, folks, we are moving on into the main event of the preliminary card. It is a light heavyweight bout between Ion Cutelaba. I always want to say Ion. It's Ion Cutelaba coming in against Ibo Aslan. Crazy. Their names are separated by 2 letters, the first name. That's wild. Thanks, Saf Jelly, with the fun fact. That's multiple money sounds for you. It is from Annie. So, yeah, it was not Mary Poppins, but still a classic. You should watch both if you haven't seen them. Iwan Cutelaba coming in against Ibo Aslan. You're talking about an up-and-comer that's 14-1 with barely any UFC experience at all, coming in against a man that's got a wealth of UFC experience in Iwan Cutelaba, but highly improbable when it comes to betting on this man. Because when he's supposed to win, he loses. When he's supposed to lose, he wins. When he doesn't get hit, he pretends he got hit and then the ref stops it. Like, dude just has anomaly stoppages, pun intended. Nano, take the lead on this light heavyweight bout and tell me why I should definitely not bet Iwan Cutelaba.
Because he is as up and down as up and down gets, my brother. I mean, even in his last 5, he's lost, he won, he lost, he won, probably going to lose again. That's the name of his game. He's 18-10 professionally here with 1 draw, and he's going up against another dog, a guy that has that one-punch power, a guy that we've seen fade, unfortunately, but when he's at his best, dude has all the potential in the world, and I'm talking about his opponent, Ibo. 14-1, got rid of his last opponent and most of his opponents in exciting fashion. KO after KO after KO after KO after KO. Actually, one of them is fighting earlier, Rafael Cerqueira. So we already talked about him as well. He took care of that business. So listen, man.
Such a fun name to say, Cerqueira.
I like that a lot as well. The last Ottoman here, Ibo. Unfortunately, I think that's where I'm leaning. I'm leaning the younger fighter who has, I think, a little bit more in the tank. Obviously, he's more consistent. I mean, 14-1 record certainly indicates that. But Ion Cutelaba, he got me saying it as well. The Hulk has definitely been able to surprise us. He's fighting with extreme couture. Like, he wins those fights he's not supposed to win, and then he unfortunately loses the ones that he has really a chance to step up or make a name for himself, and he just, 1 step forward, 2 steps back with this guy, unfortunately. It's just hard to bet on either one of these guys. When you get in the heavyweight, light heavyweights, it's just one punch can change it all. I do think it's going to end up being, I would not choose decision on this one. I think it's probably going to be a finish, but I'm leaning Ibo to get it done over the grizzled up and down veteran in Ion Cutelaba. Making the walk. What's the line by Aslan by KO? Do you have that up?
It's minus 115. It is minus 115 right now. You can get him by submission at plus 1800 though, bud.
So you're saying there's a chance.
You can get it by decision at plus 650 if you do think it goes to decision.
And Matula has mentioned it as well here. Ibo's opponents are lackluster, and some of his performances, even though they're finishes, you want to see a little bit more. You see him gas out a little bit as the fight progresses, but he has that one punch power at any point, right? He continues to carry it. It just can completely change the game, especially if both guys are tired. I'm curious to see how he's going to deal with the wrestling if Ion decides to do that. Cutelaba, let me just call him Cutelaba. That's easier. If Cutelaba decides to try to grapple, wrestle with him, make it muddy, even just apply a lot of pressure, like that can definitely tire out Ibo Aslan. So I'm hoping for an early round finish because that's more likely or not going to be Ibo's way or path with least resistance, I would say.
Matua, don't put that on me.
Ion. Okay, Ibo is not a sharp striker, hands down. Decent kicks though, and charismatic. Definitely charismatic.
That's my light heavyweight in our fantasy league. I hate that comment. Ibo Aslan is my light heavyweight. So
I see the lips moving.
What's happening? Wait, what's happening? Hold on. One sec. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, I think everybody else can hear me, but not you. Boom. Yeah. So look, man, Ibo Aslan is in my fantasy league. That's my pick for light heavyweight. I'm upset about it if you think he's going to lose, but I simply think that he has this in the bag. He's coming in against an Iwan Kutelaba who is 2-3 in their last 5. Now I get what you're saying. Who has Ibo fought? He hasn't fought a who's who, right? But the fact of the matter is, if his opponent doesn't win by knockout, he typically loses by decision, disqualification, or submission, or knockout. He's lost in all those ways. Felipe Lin's got a unanimous decision over him. I think Ibo's a better fighter than Felipe. Kennedy and Chukwuwu, before he went up, I mean, dude's a beast for sure. Johnny Walker, I mean, I prefer Jameson. But either way, Johnny Walker definitely went out there and got it done via rear naked choke. Something we don't see very often from a Johnny Walker, but he was able to go out there and get a submission over that young man. So give me his opponent, the young, hungry lion in Ibo Aslan, the last Ottoman. I mean, this dude looks like an absolute chiseled monster. He also just wins by knockout. So I'm being a little bit biased here, Matua, before you even come at me in the comments. But he also only has one loss, and that's by submission. Last time I checked, Iwan only has 2 submissions, and, you know, they're not super impressive, and they're not super recent either. So give me Ibo Aslan. I think he gets it done. I think he's going to land a lot of early leg kicks, start chopping the trees. And then once he hurts the legs, he's going to start really attacking the body. And then up top, he's basically going to climb that ladder of striking and just do damage in here. And hopefully get like a second round finish and get your boy some points in the fantasy league this weekend. But with that being said, readdressing this, making the walk, Jax, if you are going to bet on it, I highly would recommend you just take the money line at minus 180. I'm not 1,000% confident that he can get the finish over Iwan because Iwan is durable at times. But I'm confident that he gets the win. And he's only minus 180. So you're only getting like a 70-point spread on that if you take him by knockout versus just money line flat. So that way you get him by any way he gets it done. And I digress. I do like to be crazy with my bets. You'll see. I like a lot of underdogs. I'm going to post my main bets other than the one that Nano talked me into. Bad influence over here. But I'll post those later on, folks. With that being said, it's time to move into the main card. And starting off the main card, Nano, we have a light heavyweight bout between Alonzo Menifield coming in against Julius Walker. This fight, it is so weird and so interesting because one of them is a D1 basketball player. The other one is a D1 football player, right? Like, what is happening? The matchmakers got bored. They had fun with this one. I'm just going to do a very broad level breakdown, and then I'm curious to hear if you have any thoughts on this at all. It is a very short notice fight. Shout out Julius Walker stepping up after that KO win in LFA. Obviously didn't take a ton of damage. Look, he's got a lot of notable regional circuit knockouts. Very good for him. Unproven grappling, though. He's never really had to face a very highly proficient grappler. And you know he's going to have the UFC jitters. He's going to be attacked by the bright lights. He's going to be looking to shut him out. But he does have heavy hands. High pressure style. And decent durability. He is a striker. He is a brawler at heart, if we can call him that. Standing across from him is a power striker with 15-3-1 record in Alonzo Menifield, right? He's got twice as many wins as this man has professional fights. By the way, Julius Walker, 7-0, undefeated fighter. So he does have that for sure going for him. And a prolific finisher at that. But Alonzo Menifield is an explosive striker. And he has explosive power in general. Strong clinch work. And with all due respect, he can lose 14 minutes and 59 seconds of a 15-minute fight. And he still has the nuclear option. So it's tough to go in there against somebody like Alonzo Menifield. His nickname is literally Atomic for a reason. I say the nuclear option. I guess he would say the atomic option. and it's not wrong. Only weakness that I could say is we have seen his cardio give out for him in extended fights, and we've seen him struggle against very technical strikers. If Julius Walker comes into this one with a strong game plan, I do actually see him being able to get the dub on him. Alonzo coming off the draw here, right? It's tough stuff. It's tough stuff for Alonzo. I think they're trying to give him a gimme. They're trying to give him a layup here, but I just don't know. Or no, actually, no. He's coming off of the win over the loss over Ozma, right? Under Ozma. Oof, man, even worse. Even worse. His last two were tough outings, right? 12-second knockout. Alonzo got chewed up his last fight pretty badly. I agree. And I mean, if you look at the line spread on this one, folks, it's not ideal, right? Because Alonzo, he is the wily veteran. He's minus 245. I don't think he deserves minus 245 in this one. I think this should be closer to a pick'em. Right? I think this one should be way closer to a pick'em. But plus 200 Julius Walker. I haven't already bet on him, but I mean, I could be convinced. I was trying to stay away from this one because a lot of times in these heavier weights, these guys are ticking time bombs. They could go either way. And again, Julius could win 99.99% of the fight and then just eat a shot and be out cold, brother. So I'm staying away from this one. Gun to my head, though. I don't know enough about Julius Walker. Give me Alonzo Menifield. I know what you got.
I'm right there with you, brother. And I hate looking at that age gap. Y'all know I typically do not like the older fighter, especially when it's 6+ years. There's statistics that certainly suggest you want to go for the younger fighter here. But listen, Alonzo Menifield, we've seen him more often than not. The atomic, aka the atomic bomb, he still possesses that, okay? He still has the nuclear codes. I think he's going to find a way to get it done. And the reality is, you never know, right? Julius Walker, aka Juice Box, he's still a kid, man. He's 25 years old. I mean, this guy's still under his parents' insurance, okay? How much game does he got? How much tread on these tires? How deep in the water can he go? Okay, I know he's got a lot of tread on the tires. He's still a youngin'. But can he handle the storm? How's he going to look after 10 minutes, after 12 minutes of fighting with an Alonzo Menifield in front of you, who's probably going to be leading the dance, probably going to be trying to get that one-punch knockout? So, you know, if he's bouncing around, he being Julius, on the outside trying to avoid the nuclear missile strike from Alonzo Atomic Menifield here, then, hey, good on him. He's a young kid. Maybe he should be able to get it done, but I'm going to take the old grizzle vet here as well. There's definitely a theme going on. Let's go. And we got some comments. So my boy MMAnomaly, Dixon Sider, he said, okay, you B-words, you blokes. Which one of you stole Olin's glasses? I'm about to bust someone's kneecaps if I don't get some answers. I'm glad someone finally acknowledged it. I noticed. I don't want to say nothing, but
my guy's got my back.
Blind?
Dixon Sider. I'm legally blind. No, I left my glasses in the other room, and I didn't want to delay starting the show any longer, so we just hit go, baby. We just hit go. We sent it, as we say. So, Matua calling me out. Wow, Olin with the safe option. All right, Matua. You know what? I'm not only going to do this for you, okay? I'm going to do it big. We're going to take Julius Walker to win by KO, TKO, or DQ. And I'll let you choose. Do we do a half unit on it or do we do a fifth of a unit on it? It's plus 400 right now. So a fifth of a unit would get you a whole unit back, and a half unit would get you 2.5 units back. You tell me what we should do here, Matua. Ball's in your court, okay? Ball's in your court. And with that ball in your court, we move our ball into the next section of this court, folks. It is arguably my favorite fight of the night. My favorite fight of the night. No. We're talking about a featherweight bout between Jean Lord Silva, coming in against Melsik Begsedarian. Holy freaking crap, man. This fight is exciting. because every John Silva fight is exciting. Put a fifth on there, making the walk said. Matua also said fifth. We are doing a fifth of a unit on it, folks. Had to do it to him. So thank you guys for joining in on the chat. We really appreciate you. No, I think John Silva is just going to continue his run in this one. I think the overall well-roundedness that he brings to the table is definitely something to behold. Lord Silva can get it done anywhere the fight goes, right? He does have 2 submissions. He does have a decision, but where he shines, make no mistake, is on the feet. He has 11 wins by KO/TKO. And of course, all of the ones that we've seen in the UFC have been a first, a second, and a third round finish. The guy is showing us that he can get it done anywhere the fight goes. And by anywhere the fight goes, I simply mean which part of the round. He's going to get it done on the feet more often than not. Weston Wilson, he got the round 1 knockout in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. 4:12. Hey, that's my birthday. And then Charles Air Jourdain, he got the uppercut on in round number 2, just 1 minute and 22 seconds in. And then in the most recent fight, arguably one of the most exciting fights I've seen in a long time, just a slobber knocker between Drew Dober and this young man, Jean Lord Silva, ended in a doctor stoppage in round number 3, 1 minute and 28 seconds in. The man has hands. The man can get it done on the feet. And I think Melsik Begzadarian doesn't bring enough to the table, doesn't have enough gusto or skill behind him to get this done. He has 3 decision wins, 5 knockout wins, and 2 losses on his record. Both losses coming by way of submission. Now, do I think his opponent is going to come out here and submit him the way that Josh Culibao did in round number 2? I don't. I think he's probably going to come out here and give the man his first knockout loss. Will John Silva make weight? He's going to make the cutoff. He's going to just barely make the featherweight cutoff. I think he's going to weigh in at 146. Maybe 146 and a half, and then have to trim off give the extra 2 hours to let him trim off that extra half pound. But I do think he makes the weight, Matua. And either way, I think he makes the walk. Shout out making the walk. Nano, shout out to you, my friend. Are we riding the same wavelength on this one again?
I love it. Absolutely, my brother. Great segues there on all facets. Yeah, Jean Silva's the man. I mean, listen, this fighting nerd is probably the most violent, the most vicious, the most just savage out of the bunch. All those guys are doing well, doing great things since they joined the UFC, company here. But man, listen, this guy, 28 years old, again, only a year and a half, and he's been able to make quick work of his opponents, 4 KOs, put him up, knock him down. I like what I'm seeing from John Silva. I guess the thing with him is he's going up against a guy. This is someone that has a lot of UFC experience as well. I mean, not that a Charles Jourdain didn't, not that a Drew Dober doesn't either, but this guy isn't a walk in the park. Like, you really got to make sure you stay a pro. Like Matua saying, you got to make the weight, do all the right things, come in there, because the sky is a limit for this kid, but you can't be a question mark. And again, someone like a Melsik, at 33 years old, he's 4-1 in the UFC. Like, let's not make no mistake. He did lose to a Joshua Culibao, RNC. These things happen, which if John hurts him and gets him down, or Jean hurts him, gets him down to the ground, certainly poses a lot of threats there. But the reality is, like, when I compare a Joshua Culibao to a Jean Silva, it's honestly, I mean, to give respect to where it's due, like, they both are savages, but like John Silva's, this guy is next level.
Different.
He's built a little different, man. He's built for tough, and I think he just poses similar and potentially even more threats to a Melsik. But it's no walk in the park, man. You still go out there, get it done. But looking at the odds, if you don't want to take him straight money line because he is a heavy favorite, maybe you do chase a TKO to keep his streak going, or maybe he gets his first sub. That's a fun narrative. Both are fun paths to victory. Both will lead to a fun viewership for us as the violent fans here. All 66 of us, 67 including my co-host here, 68 including myself. Yeah, man, this guy is must-see TV. I'm going to be tuned in every time he's fighting. Let's hope he makes weight. Let's hope he's healthy. And let's hope that Melsick, the gun, can go out there and live and die by the gun and hopefully give us a good show. But I'm leaning the Lord Silva on this one. Let's go.
Yeah, I like where your head's at because it's in the same place as mine, my friend. And with that being said, we move right on into the next one. We have a catch weight bout between Javi Fanch, you know him as Rob Font, coming in against John Matsumoto. You just heard us giving high praise for a young man named John, and now on the opposite end of Javi Fanch is an undefeated 16-0 fighter, John Matsumoto. I steamrolled right through that last one in the lead, Nano. So I guess I'll go ahead and let you take the lead on this one because I got thoughts.
Absolutely, my brother. Fight. Absolutely. I know. It's a hot thoughts, man. It's our boy. How do we not have thoughts? And the matchup itself is interesting, right? It certainly leaves a lot of thoughts to be had. Like, how did we get here? Who is this kid getting the shot at a Javi Fanch? And when I look, obviously, the resumes and their background, the age, I mean, it couldn't be more opposite. How they like their path to this point. It's a 9-day difference, but I believe to our point, it is a short notice bout. I'm pretty sure that's probably why it is at a catch weight, which honestly does favor.
Well, yeah, Javi Fanch was originally training to fight. Sorry to cut in, Dominic Cruz. Of course, Dominic Cruz had to pull out because of the arm injury. I believe he tore his shoulder, and
oof.
That's why he retired ultimately. His body's falling apart at the age he's at and just the wear and tear he's had. So definitely a short notice fight for him. His opponent took it on short notice and he accepted it at a catch weight.
Well, I'll take it. And maybe that kind of helps them both, especially for a Rob at this stage in his career, not having to kill himself to try to cut those extra few pounds. Hopefully we see the best version of these gentlemen. And I think we will. I think this will be fireworks for as long as it lasts. The thing with John is only thing we really have to reference is that last fight against Brad Katona, who is a tough son of a gun. Both guys are just muscle packed, short, stocky, youthful, have a lot in the gas tank, but have some holes. And so when I see Rob, or when I think of Rob, I think of the jab, one of the sexiest jabs in the game. That's the neutralizer. So all things considered, you can be flashy, you can move around, you can look scary, you can change levels and do all that you need to do. But Rob is well-rounded. He is a slight underdog here. Man, I would sprinkle some money on Rob as an underdog. But if I'm being honest, I think if John fights the best fight, he has a chance to has a path to victory. There's a good chance he could get it done, is what I was trying to say. I had a hard time saying it, y'all. You heard me. My mouth didn't want to say it. My heart is telling me, don't say it, man. Don't bet against Rob. But my brain is saying, I think John Matsumoto has all the skills. He's continuing to get better. He's tough as nails. If he could weather the storm, I think he could outpoint, unfortunately, a Rob at this stage in his career. Again, he's 37 years old. It's not prime Javi Fanch, okay? But talk to me, my brother. There's a lot of meat on this one. I'm excited as I'll be. Styles make fights, y'all. This has potential fight of the night written all over it. And it is kind of old, grizzled veteran against the new age generation of MMA fighters. It's a story as old as time. So I'm curious to hear your breakdown, my brother, and how you see this one shaking out.
Yeah, man. Great breakdown as always. Look, Javi Fanch, he's on my fantasy team as well in our league. I just think it's going to be the tale of the jab. And every time John Matsumoto comes in and starts to find his rhythm, jab, 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 over and over again, up until the moment that John Matsumoto is like, you know what? He's going to jab me. And then that's when he starts hitting him with those zingers, bro. He starts throwing in the hooks. He starts throwing in the crosses. He starts hitting him with those uppercuts. We've seen it before. He has this crispy jab, 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 jab. He turns it all the way over. Perfect protection. Shoulder rolls up to protect this inside of his jaw. And then as people start trying to walk through the jab, they're like, you know what? I've admitted this. I have to eat the jab in order to get inside, do damage. He'll either throw the jab and commit to it, or he will feint the jab, stop here, and as you think you're defeating the jab, he just slices him with a nasty uppercut. I think this O is going to go on Saturday evening, folks, in John Matsumoto. The Matsumoto O is going to go, and Hobby Fonch is going to make it so with a jab. And that's the flow. Folks, I think you should definitely bet on this, man. He is a plus 136 money line right now. That means if you put 1 unit on him, you can get 2.36 units back. Which is why, of course, we didn't do that. We did 1.5 units on him because we're degenerate gamblers. We love this guy. 3.54. Had to lean in a little bit. No glasses here. That's the number of units we're getting back if we put 1.5 on him. So that's what we did. We also added him to the parlay. If you're following along, that's number 2, folks. That's number 2. And with that being said, we move on into the next bout of the evening, and it is the co-main event of the evening, folks. And that is a middleweight bout between Brendan All-In Allen coming in against Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Oh, it's Nano. It's going to be a fun bout. Be a fun bout. It is, as they say in The Beauty and the Beast, what do they say? Tale as old as time. Man, I'm excited about this one. These guys actually fought, believe it or not, a very, very long time ago. No. It was a very long time ago, back in 2018. Feels like a lifetime ago. Back at LFA number 32. And fun fact, don't know if you know this, but before that fight, Tapology voted on that because you can do that on Tapology. One of my favorite things about the site. Do you know how they voted? How the spread was? It was fantastic. It was 74% of them in favor of our guy Brendan All-In Allen going into that fight. He was riding a tear, right? And everybody loves you when you're coming off a win. Everybody loves you when you're winning. This time around, more than 10 times the people voted on this one on Tapology. Obviously, it's a UFC fight. Makes sense. That tracks. 15% of them are now pulling for Allen, thinking that he'll get the win. From over 70 to less than 20. No. That's tough. But I ain't one of these quitters because mama ain't raised no bitch. And daddy didn't raise no quitter. All right. So look, I'm riding the Allen train till the wheels fall off. He was once upon a time the MMA Anomaly of the Year here at the show. So I'm riding this train till the wheels fall off. I think he has learned more in the last 7 years since they fought, 8 years since they fought, almost. I think he's become the better fighter. He has definitely fought the better fighters in the octagon, and though he has losses, he has learned from those. Because as we like to say on this show and in most MMA gyms, if they're good ones, there's no such thing as losing in this sport, Nano. There is winning and there is learning. And my boy, Brendan All-In Allen, he's done a lot of learning at 24-6. And I think he's going to teach. No, not teach. I think he's going to learn that young man something, Anthony Hernandez. He's fought out of the boot. He's fought in Louisiana. I'm going to pull for this guy. He's trained with DP. Not a big fan of the gym he's training at right now, but that's another tale for another episode, folks. No. Who you got in this one? And tell me why you are also riding with the boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Brendan All-In Allen.
Because I'm putting all my chips in the center, my brother. I am all freaking in on Brendan Allen, baby. You know the vibes. Granted, we did meet him in Vegas, okay? We are a little biased. He is from Louisiana, from the mud. Y'all heard me. Listen, man, I heard you, brother. Loud and clear, baby. And it's one of those things. I love a good story. I love a good comeback story. I love a good comic book story. I love the guy that is disregarded, the guy that everyone's rooting against, the underdog. Look at this guy. Look at that. Look at that crew. Good looking bunch here. And of course, we got our time with the Brendan All-In Allen. We had to let him know you're the man. We're big fans of you. And we love how he gets down as well. Martin Vittori, it could be on the craps table. It could be on the blackjack, the baccarat. I don't matter. I'll give you a little smack. Let's go, baby. Hey, man, he's always game. And really, his only blemishes was a Chris Curtis way back when, right, a few years ago. Obviously, Fluffy did beat him for the LFA championship back in 2018, but that was 7 years ago. What were you doing 7 years ago? I had different hairdos. We had different music, different style. I mean, come on. It's, let's not even go back down that memory lane, okay? And listen, most recently, he did lose to Nasruddin Imavov, but he took him to a decision, y'all, okay? He did his best, man, to try to knock off this shooting star, but as y'all know, man, Nasruddin, he took care of another legend in the Izzy Adesanya, so that loss aged like a fine wine. And now back to really the X's and O's. I see why Fluffy is the betting favorite here, and he's got a tricky, funky style when it comes to his wrestling and how he pairs it up with his striking as well. Like, he's obviously putting leather onto skin here. He's landed on his opponents, but he really is known for his wrestling. I think Brendan has an answer for that. Not only does he have his own wrestling prowess as well, but he's got the submission threat at all times. I mean, he could easily slip an RNC at Darce. Anthony Fluffy can fall right into a trap. And I think at this point, if I'm being honest, just the couple years of youth on our boy Brendan, but even just the maturation, just the natural maturation from these guys fighting in their early 20s to now, like, again, so much has changed. I think they're now that final version of themselves, two totally different fighters, the next evolution. But again, I think it's going to be Brandon Allen Allen that's going to put all his chips in the middle, that's going to have an answer. He knows what Anthony Fluffy Hernandez does. He does it every single time, and he's a specialist, and he's great at it. But none of the guys that he's fought is a Brendan Allen, man. He's a different breed. He's a different animal, and he's seen he's felt the Nasruddin Imavovs. He's been in there with the Chris Curtises, with the Sean Stricklands, an ex-champion, the Kevin Hollands, who he's beat. Like, this man has slowly gotten himself there, and like, I'm watching Invincible right now. Like, he feels like an Invincible. Like, he kind of has to unleash that anger a little bit to get to where he needs to get. And that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be muddy. It's going to be dirty. There's going to be blood. But where there'll be blood, there will be a man with his furry hat that gets the victory and his hand raised as he's all in, Brendan, all in Allen. Let's go, baby. I'm going to dish it back to you, my brother. Let the people know. Let all 69 of them know why you got to be all in on our boy from Louisiana and why Fluffy is, he's a little out-fluffed. Talk to me now.
I think he's out-fluffed, man. I think he's out-fluffed. I completely agree with you. Look, I grew up in the boot. This man fought in the boot. You hear me? He was raised out there. And, dude, I'm super excited for it. Sav Jelly said, got some work to do, my friends. I'll catch up on the show when it's uploaded. We appreciate you, Sav Jelly. If you're not already liked, commented, subscribed, all that good stuff to @SavJelly, make sure you do that. You know how it works, folks. Nano, we're riding the same train on this one. Brendan Allen is my final dog of the night here, folks. I had to do it. He's plus 260 right now. When I put him in, let's see, what was he when we put him in? He was plus 270. They're listening to the show, Nano. It's already gone down 10 points. I'm glad we locked that in. We did. They're on to us. He's at plus 260 right now, folks. Get in while the getting's good, as we say, because that line will shift. I have a feeling. And hey, if you're very confident and bullish on Anthony Hernandez, bite the bullet and take that minus 325 line. We support you either way, folks. With that being said, we got one more fight to go over, folks, and it is a bantamweight bout between a former legend. I don't know if you know this about him, Nano, but he actually has an Olympic medal. I don't think I've ever heard him say that on air. So, fun fact, Henry Cejudo, the Olympian, coming in against Song Yadong. One of the funner names to say in the UFC, Song Yadong. Henry Cejudo, one of the cringier fighters in the UFC. But man, both guys are just skilled from the ground up, Nano. I feel like we got to do the last shot of the show here for this one, man. These boys are about to put on a show for us, so we got to put on a show for the 71 people in the chat right now. While I pour up the shot, I'll go ahead and go through some of these stats. 38 years old, coming in against 27 years of age here. Obviously, Cejudo being the older man. 5'3", coming in against 5'7" in terms of height. Obviously, both the same weight because that's how this works. That's why we have weight classes. And 64 inches of reach, coming in against 67 inches of reach. So that's right, folks. We have a 3-inch reach advantage for Song Yadong. And when you're talking about a guy that has as decent grappling, not even as decent, as good grappling as Song Yadong, it's a dangerous prospect. Nano, you got that shot poured, my brother.
Does a bear poop in the woods? It's
a fact, brother. They indeed do. I knew the answer to that question. It was halfway rhetorical. Folks, if you do drink, raise one up with us. Do one with us. We appreciate you. If not, do a sip of water, raw dog some air, maybe just hit the like button again and then hit it again if you had already hit it. Just make sure you hit it. And subscribe. Smash the bell for notifications. But more importantly, give yourself a pat on the back. We appreciate you for being here. We're over an hour in. There's 71 of you, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Cheers. Now, no, I don't want you to sing me the song of your people. But the screen went black. That's not great. Oh, there he is. He's back. I was going to say, I don't want you to sing me the song of your people, but I do want you to sing me the song of Yadong. Tell me what your thoughts on this fight are, my brother.
I don't know Yadong's song, but I do know that Song Yadong is a problem, man. He's an absolute great fighter. The Kung Fu Kid, I think he's got to be the Kung Fu master if he comes out here and gets it done. Hey, shout out Bruce Lee. That's why I got the shirt on today. As you think, so you shall become. Come on. Bruce Lee on the back, y'all. Sorry, I had to turn around real quick.
One of the best shirts. Great shirt. One of the best books you'll ever read is The Tao of Jeet Kune Do. If you don't own it, can't recommend it enough.
I'm going to have to get it. I got a
Bruce
ton
Lee
of
wrote
books
it when
right
he
there.
thought that he was going to be paralyzed.
Oh, shoot.
He drew diagrams of his martial arts style, Jeet Kune Do. It's a lot of philosophical quotes and things of them, just basically compiled together. It's a pretty beautiful book to own. Oh,
definitely have to get that in the collection behind me. That is not a filter. Those are real books, but I don't have that one. I'm going to need to add it for shout. Thank you, brother, for the recommendation. See, y'all, listen, you get a well-rounded mixture of news and tidbits and just good little fun facts for life there. So add it to the repertoire. Good wisdom. And again, I mean, Song Yadong representing China, all the best things where martial arts, I guess, originated in a lot of ways. I feel like it has. I don't know. I digress. Both these guys fight out of two places I love. Song Yadong repping Sacramento, where my parents live, my state where I went to school, now my town as well, my city. But also Henry Cejudo repping Phoenix, Arizona, though he's kind of a mixed bag, Triple C, the legend. He had his time, and if we know anything, y'all, Father Time is undefeated. So as much as I want to definitely give Henry Cejudo his praise, he's a legend of the game, from Olympic wrestling champion to two-division champion here in the UFC. He's always striving for greatness. Unfortunately, the Ray Longo boys had to serve him a couple L's most recently, which to me doesn't tarnish the legacy. He's always going out there, going for the best and biggest, baddest challenges. And both of those, they're all ex-champions. So this is big. He has not lost a step. He's not somebody that is old and, looks like he's not able to compete. He is still competing at a high level, even though he's 38 years old. Frankly, he wouldn't be doing it if he didn't feel he could actually go out there and win. But the Kung Fu Kid is the Kung Fu master now, okay? He's finally leveled up. He's 27 years young still, which is crazy to say with 28 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw. Kind of up and down, but listen, man, he's been constantly challenging himself. He's been constantly learning these lessons. He's big, strong, and he's down to get the friction out. So it's hard for me to go against Yadong's song as I kind of, rap a little song for y'all. And that's that, man. I'm curious to hear your breakdown. It's just at this stage, it's hard for me to bet against a Yadong Song and all the threats he brings. I'm hoping for 25 minutes of violence. I'm hoping to see high level fight at its best, and I'm hoping for a good call out after Yadong Song takes care of business here. So that's where I'm leaning. He's a pretty heavy favorite. I guess I still would take it. It's a safe bet money line, make some money back. Or if you want to get a little extra fancy, maybe you take a later finish, like a later sub, or even just by decision. I guess honestly, that's safe bet. Henry Cejudo's a dog. What are you thinking, my brother? Talk to the people.
Man, Triple C is back, folks, and so is Jive Turkey Nano with the best breakdowns in the biz. Look, man, I'm excited as hell about this fight. Henry Cejudo obviously is coming into this one at 38 years of age, a decorated athlete, having secured Olympic gold medal in freestyle wrestling in the past, and holding UFC titles and previously in 2 weight classes at flyweight and bantamweight. After a 3-year hiatus, he joined the UFC again in 2023. Currently facing 2 consecutive losses against Aljamain Sterling and Merab Dvalishvili, the Machine. Folks, always look for an excuse to play that one. Love the Transformers. But he's coming in here against a 27-year-old stud. The Chinese fighter has been steadily climbing the bantamweight ranks, standing at 5'7", having a 67-inch reach. Yadong holds a professional record of 21-7 with 1 draw. Known for his striking prowess, he has secured 12 career finishes, including 9 knockouts, 3 submissions. The man is a water flow fighter. If I had to describe his fighter, folks, you've heard me say this a number of times. He is a meat and potato style striker. He is a meat and potato style fighter. I'm not going to say that about Song Yadong because he's simply not a meat and potato style fighter. He is a waterboard style fighter, right? Because when he is fighting an opponent and he is on, and there is a such thing as showing up and being on versus not being on, right? We know this. You'll know this, brother. You know this. Sometimes you show up, you're on. Sometimes you show up, you're not on, brother. We got to check these guys grappling. But I digress. If this man shows up and he is on, as we say, locked in, as the kids say, I mean, it feels like you're being waterboarded. I got to imagine. The constant flow of pressure. Nano mentioned Bruce Lee. He's repping the shirt for that reason. The king of Kung Fu, the Kung Fu master in Song Yadong, right? Show him again, baby. Show a little bit louder for the boys in the back. The Kung Fu kid. This man's wearing the shirt of the Kung Fu man, Bruce Lee. But look, man, as you said, I'm just simply going to echo it a little bit further. The Kung Fu kid comes out here, I think, with the jab that he possesses. It is a nasty jab. The range management that he has. And I said all the same exact things about touchy-feely that I'm about to say about this guy. He's going to keep you at range. He has the ability to chop the tree and go low. He has a good fight IQ to go to the body and start working up top, pop, pop, come to the body. And then as soon as your hands drop low, come up top with those shovel hooks and uppercuts. And the second you think you got him figured out there, or you desperately shoot for a takedown, the man's going to guillotine you because they have a hell of a guillotine over there at Team Alpha Male. That's where he trains. I have Song Yadong coming into this one, and I have him pretty confidently. I am not going to bet the under here. I'm not going to bet by finish because I simply don't know if he's able to finish Henry Cejudo. Cejudo has gone the distance with Demetrius Johnson, so that tells me just how darn durable he is, folks. But again, give me the man, give me the myth, give me the legend, Song Yadong, Kung Fu Kid. And with that being said, folks, if you're here still, it has been an hour and 24 minutes. We appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to quickly go through my bets here. Here we go. That's right. Olin's UFC Fight Night bets. We have a couple of little fun graphics here. You've already heard it. If you're just joining in, though, there are 75 of you. Make sure you march on over to YouTube, even if it's just for a moment. Hit that like, comment, subscribe button. Smash the bell for notifications, folks. We're going to jump into these bets now. We have Ricky Simone coming in at plus 205. Now, these odds are always subject to change and obviously only bet with money you can afford to lose, folks. These odds have actually already changed, as you'll see if you log into DraftKings Sportsbooks or your local sportsbooks. We are not sponsored, but we hope to be someday. Now, Ricky Simone came in at plus 205 when we placed this. We put a half a unit on him, folks. That's right. That half unit will get you 1.5 units back. And then, of course, we had to throw down a little two-leg parlay here. It's with Brendan Allen, the man, the myth, the legend, the MMA anomaly formerly. Moneyline plus 270, a line too juicy to not smash and slam. 1 unit down on him to win 3.7 units at a straight bet on Moneyline. And then, of course, we had to parlay him with the man, the myth, the king of the jab, Habefanch. Moneyline plus 130, Nano? Are you fucking kidding me, brother? We had to do it to him. Plus 130 on the money line for Habefanch. 1.5 units. We are slamming them down on this, man, like it's free money. Plus 3.45 units back in our bank account when this does hit. Not if, but when. And then when Brendan Allen and Habefanch get it done, again, we had to smash it down on both the boys. Plus 751 on these odds paired together. 0.5 of a unit. That's right. We put a half unit on it to get 4.25 back. Quick maths for those of you that are bad at math. That is 3.5 units out in totality to get back 12.9 if and when all of these hit. Folks, I'll be posting this up on social media so that way you can tell it if you'd like to. Maybe I'll throw a don't tell parlay slide together specifically, or don't tell bet, straight bet slide together for you folks if you do want to be so inclined to do so. But I digress, folks. We're out here and we are ready to win this money. We are just about flat. We're like half a unit up on the year right now or so. So I think we're like 0.45 up. But either way, folks, playing with a little bit of house money. And we're going to keep stacking those pennies, stacking those dimes. And if Nano keeps flowing, stacking those rhymes. Folks, Nano said it. We have to go through some MMA news that was announced last night. Man, there have been just a handful of fights that were recently announced, obviously. And all of those were announced last night on a live that was, of course, hosted and posted by Dana White himself, which means don't take them with a grain of salt because they are happening. Dana White never, ever, ever tells a lie, right? We know that to be true. That's, of course, me being sarcastic and facetious a little bit. But I digress. Nano, first things first, we got to talk about the fights that were announced. Muhammad versus Della Maddalena. That's right, folks. Bilal, remember the name, versus Jackie, 3 names. Man, how do you see this one going?
Oh, man, little Fort Minor, 20% luck, 50% skill, 20% concentrated power and will. And 100% reason to remember the name, baby. I just shorted it up for y'all. I didn't want to go through the whole one. But if you know, you know. Listen, man, Bilal Muhammad going in there and getting an absolute savage, right? I guess a little bit my gut reaction was love it for JDM. Love Jack Della Maddalena getting that shot. But I was a little shocked. We did not see the Shavkat announcement. I guess that was what we were all waiting for, right? We thought it was going to be Bilal versus Shavkat. But Shavkat went to social media and said he was injured. He was not going to be healthy for the bout, so he will face the winner. Just adds that much more excitement to it. But I guess my gut reaction, a little shocked. I guess a good pivot, though. A great pivot, actually, because we love our boy JDM. He's going to go out there and throw absolute haymakers and try to hurt our boy Bilal. And he's got some good defensive takedown, good takedown defense. Let me rephrase. But before I keep going, the one, the only S-Dogs in the chat, y'all. And that's the one, the only S-Dogs MMA Talk. Talk to us now. Can we talk for a minute? A little Tevin Campbell on your ass. Great to see you, my brother.
My guy, S-Dogs is in the chat right now.
Look at the range. Look at the range. Hey, man. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're live. We're thriving. We're jiving with all 76, 77 of y'all. We appreciate you. If you're still here, man, can't believe it. Shout out Matua. Tevin Campbell is amazing. Well, I agree. I agree with that. Come on now. That's what we do. That's what we do around here. I digress, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Gut reaction, man. Bilal better be ready. Because Jack Della Maddalena can mix him up with the best of them, okay?
Jackie Trenes.
I'm sure he's going to be a dog, and I like that dog. That's all I'm going to say, my brother. I like that dog. Can I pet that dog? I'm going to pet that dog. Look at my boy getting down. Goosey over here. So we're tuning in on the YouTube just to see my man flowing.
We love to watch a good boxer in there, man. You already know, baby. You already know, Nano.
That's right, man. He's got good defense. He's poses a lot of threats to our boy Bilal, but Bilal's gas tank and his will to win and training with Canelo and those Dagestani boys out there. I mean, man, he's doing all the right things. So might still be his era.
Unfortunately, I disagree with you, man. I think Bilal does everything right in this one. I think everyone's going to be forced to remember the name. Jackie 3 names is going to be Jackie drowned names in that fight because, man, I think anybody not named Islam Makhachev goes out there and gets beat by the welterweight gout in Bilal Muhammad. Man, if it ain't Ramadan, he's down to get it on. You already know. You better bring the Parmesan for the cheese your boy's bringing. Folks, look, I think Bilal's going to get it done anywhere this fight goes. I love Jackie 3 names, Jackie Della Maddalena. But, man, I just think he struggles with the guy that he's going to have standing across from him. No glasses for Olin. Yeah, man.
Second time.
They're gone. They've been stolen. Can you report a robbery? No, I'm just kidding, man. I took them off because I know that you think I'm pretty when they're not on, Speaking of pretty, we got a pretty good fight in the women's division, women's flyweight specifically, between Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man, I'm excited about this fight. Manon is gone for gold. Sacre bleu. Times 2. This fight is going to be fun. I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep it sweet. We're not going to do the full breakdown because we're going to save that for another day, folks. Fior, inside the distance. I think she gets it done. I got a weird, sneaky feeling that she gets it done. S-Dog said, I'd smash. And with that being said, me too. No, who you got in the Shevchenko versus Fior fight?
Oh, man, that's a fun one. Absolute fun one. I think it was a collision course that we knew was coming. We saw this coming from a mile away. I'm excited, man. This is going to be a banger. At this stage, I wouldn't be surprised if a Manon Fior finds a way to get it done. Chocolat Boo. And she says au revoir to the champ. Au revoir.
I can't believe you.
Au revoir, Valentina. Au revoir. Yeah, I think it happened, my brother. I think so. It could be like a Ricky Bobby type scenario here where Valentina's just a little high and mighty. Honestly, the wrestling does scare me now that I think about it. Maybe not. Valentina, and still. Yeah. But I love the fight. I love the matchup. Can't wait to break it down with you later on. Hey, let us know how you're feeling. Break it down. Let us know how you're feeling in the chat. Let us know what y'all are thinking. Gut reaction, emoji. Number 1 through 10. How excited are you for it? I mean, this is a 9.5 on the Richter scale for me. I love this one. It's going to be violence, and it's by far the 2 best women on the planet right now in that division. So let's see what they got. And if Valentina still got it, then she's just continuing to stamp her legacy, and maybe she gets Amanda Nunes out of retirement. We'll see. I don't know, but for now, that's a phone we'll break down at a later date.
And man, it's just crazy, right? That a lot of these fights are, they obviously all got announced last night, and these first 2 are in May. But the rest of them we're going to talk about, to my knowledge, are all on my birthday, April 12th, which is wild. Feels like Dana's giving me a birthday present, folks. And with that being said, got to talk about this. Alexander Volkanovski, the Great, coming in against a fan favorite, not only in the world, but also here at this podcast. We're talking about the one, the only, Diego.
Where are you?
Lopez, folks. That's right. That's right. A little bit louder for those in the back.
Where are you?
And I'm so sorry. He'll probably beat Volk on that night. Some of you might cry, but it's okay, because we'll do a shot for you on the next show. Oh, man. I think Diego Lopez gets this one done. He's a stylistic nightmare for Volkanovski. And, I mean, he's Brian Ortega 2.0. He's Brian Ortega, but better on the feet, more durable. He's just a bad matchup for a Alexander Volkanovski, who, in my opinion, has in recent years lost that confidence and that kind of gusto and swagger that brought him to the dinner table in the first place. Nano, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, listen, Volkanovski, he's one of one. He's a guy that I'd love to get a pint with. I'd love to go camping with and eat some of the food that he cooks up on his YouTubes and his channels and whatnot. And just a cool guy, just an absolute cool guy. And is and was like one of the best to ever do it, man. I mean, pound for pound, like he just is the epitome of modern day gladiator. Like that is the modern day gladiator. It's Alexander Volkanovski. Dude never backed down from a challenge. At his best, I mean, dude could rival with anybody in any division, at least within range, right? But seriously, like he focused, he had his run. He could have tried to do the whole double champ, this and that, chase everything, but like, and who knows? Maybe we'll see what happens next for him. Obviously, if he gets the featherweight title, that's huge, but I'd even love to see him get some of those lightweight matchups. I mean, he's just one of those guys. He's a company man. He matches well with anybody. And this guy used to fight at a much heavier weight class. He wears it well. But unfortunately, at this stage in his career, I think he's kind of fall victim. I just can't get that Ilya. I just can't get Ilya out of my brain. When I'm thinking of Alexander Volkanovski, I can't stop thinking of my boy Ilya and what happened to him.
Calm down, bro. We're going to talk about Ilya in a minute.
I know. We'll get to the Matador. But listen, man, I can't get that image out of my brain. I think it's kind of the Chuck Liddell effect. It's the fact that Father Time's undefeated and the fact that your chin, it keeps the number. It keeps the score. I just don't know how many more of those he can take. And Diego possesses a lot of power, and he has that gas tank, and he can grapple, he can wrestle, he poses submission threats. Like, he's an absolute savage, man. I think Diego Lopez is going to be and new. We might be entering the Diego era. And, you know, if you guys are bettors out there, because I'm sure Volk will probably be the betting favorite, maybe by a slim odd. But, you know, what'll end up happening is, you know, Diego Lopez will go in there and he'll have his hair down and he'll say to the bettors that are betting on Volk, don't waste your time on me. You're already the voice inside my head.
You lost money.
And to Prime Volk, I miss you.
Man, dude, Alexander Volkanovski is currently sitting at minus 155. There's already lines on it on DraftKings Sportsbooks, brother.
Yep.
Do we smash the 130 line on Diego or what?
Yeah, I think so. Take it to the bank, baby. I do declare. And may I remind you, you are under oath.
Why is DraftKings Sportsbook showing odds for December 31st, Conor McGregor versus Dan Hooker?
Just for this year, I guess.
No, it's showing a fight between them.
I see that too, but I'm assuming that maybe that's just like within the year because they have John and Tom there as well. So it's just this year.
Oh, okay. That's a weird thing.
Which is hilarious.
To happen this year? No, yeah, that's not going to happen. They do have some odd odds here, though. Odd odds. Yeah,
the favorite, Volk favorite.
We might have to jump on some of these.
Michael Morales.
Oof. Patty Pimblett versus Michael Chandler is the next one we got to talk about, my friend.
Sheesh, so much news, y'all. This all happened overnight.
Talk about Patty Pimblett. We got to do one more. We got to pour one more.
Let's give him something to talk about.
Let's give him something to talk about.
Fights.
Dude, these fights. These fights that were announced are honestly some of the better fights that were like the fights that were announced in these two fight cards are basically UFC 300 worthy.
Oh, dude. I mean, bangers. UFC Miami, no joke, is one of the nastiest cards I've seen in a minute. Dude.
Can we just talk about the fact that it's on my birthday in my birth state?
We might need to take a trip to Miami.
Brother, it's been a minute.
We might need to go to Miami.
It's been a minute. I'm down. I'm down to go.
With some mics. I do declare. And some credentials. I do declare.
I do declare, Mr. Beauregard, are those credentials for MMAnomaly?
Do you like pool parties?
And do you like pool parties, miss? One of the best episodes ever of that show, Workaholics, which we are obviously referencing for those of you that have not seen it, obviously. Pride Party episode.
Oh, dude.
There's a neighborhood gay pride party episode, and they're like, "Oh, you guys are having a pride party? Did you invite us? We love mixed martial arts. Trying to get into that pride party." It's
good reference,
and you can obviously imagine how that goes. So, with that being said, again, we have two more fights to talk about.
And he's doing the bodybuilding.
It's so funny that episode. Honestly, I'm yoked, dude. That show is so good. I'm so sad that the movie didn't actually end up coming to fruition.
The Game Over one was hilarious, though. Still a great movie.
So good.
Game Over.
I'm gonna let Nano lead this cheers in. Nano, let's see it, brother.
Listen, man. Well, if you're with us here, all 77 of you, raise a glass. Whether it's of the adult beverage, do it responsibly. If you're drinking water, as you always should, maybe some night tea, whatever the case may be. If you're here with us, even just raise one up, raise one hand up, one finger up, because we keep it going. We keep it growing around here. But hey, man, it's a beautiful day. We're in the present, and we got a beautiful card to look forward to, and we got a lot of announcements. A lot are on the horizon, so maybe cheers to, structured violence in the octagon and a lot of happiness outside of the octagon. Cheers to that. Salud. And bear me through that. That was a rough one, but we live and we thriving, baby.
Structured violence, I'm not mad at. I've always said skilled violence.
Skilled as well. Skilled, structured.
I'm already getting two merch designs in mind right now, actually, for skilled and structured violence.
We got ideas. We were cooking in the lab. I was at least, but we need to get back in that lab, baby.
Did you not see the designs that you obviously fucking hearted on Insta? Your boy's working too. Come on.
Absolutely.
Come on, brother.
I know. I said that I didn't want to go with the second half of that. I was in the lab, and then I immediately left the lab and left it there. So bear with me. I gotta get back in that lab. I was there and I left it a must.
Lab's calling his name.
That's right. That's right. That's right, baby. Let the neighbors know my name. I'm back.
Bro,
come on.
We're cooking together. It's good stuff in the lab though, all day, baby.
A lot's on the horizon for us too. Let's go.
Speaking of good stuff all day, my friend, Ilia Topuria has vacated, effective immediately, the featherweight belt.
Yeah, we probably should have
mentioned that. That last fight that we talked about is going to be for the vacated belt. So, I mean, look, dude. Max Holloway's got to be coming back down looking for that belt. Like,
Where are you?
Because Ilia's gone, and Alex could get wiped out of the picture. So with that being said, what do you think Ilia's going up to do? Do you think he fights immediately for the title, or do you think they make him fight his way up and have at least one fight against, I don't know, maybe a Dustin Poirier in New Orleans before then?
Yeah, I guess, the question posed being, what does Ilia want to do? I think we all know what the Matador wants to do. We know he wants to go out there and he wants a chance at Islam, but is the UFC going to grant him that chance? I think we did see a really good tweet of recent. I believe that was it Islam's represent his agent maybe, or somebody in that camp. I'm not sure exactly his role, but mentioned, hey, we've already given Islam a previous featherweight champion. We've given you guys that shot. Maybe we allow this vacating featherweight champion to go up and prove that he's a legitimate lightweight. On paper, we thought the Volk was going to do the same thing, right? Or at least, and Volk did post some threats. Let's not get it twisted now. That, there were some rounds. He had some moments. But all to say, looking at the landscape of the division, looking at where Ilya is, and just looking at the tree leaves, right? Kind of reading between the lines here. It feels like he's probably going to have to get a measuring stick. He's going to have to get a contender fight. And Charles Olives, or my personal pick, and I think it'd be yours as well, Dustin Diamond Poirier. That has to be the move. Because honestly, Dustin, it's make or break. If Dustin wins, maybe you get a shot at Islam again. If you lose, then hey, you go out knowing you fought the best, baddest dude right now. And that's fine. You could live with that. But I know Ilya talked about something's cooking, so I don't expect it to be him versus Islam right away. I'd love it. I would be totally stoked. I would drop everything to make my day around that fight. If it's in Spain, I would fly to Spain to go try to watch it. It's
fun fact: we're actually going to Spain this year, so
let's go. Hey, dude, brother, me and Amy have been. We will happily provide recommendations and happily go back, my brother.
We got a group of us going, so man, tag along. Let's go to Spain, brother.
Let's go, man. Let's go. ¿Qué tal? That's what they say out there. It's just basically like, what's up? I digress. Yeah, man. I think it's going to be Ilya Dustin or Ilya Charles. And then the winner will get Islam later this year.
I'm not mad at either of those. I would rather, obviously, I'd rather Ilya Dustin, and I'd rather not go to Spain for it. I'd rather go to New Orleans for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to say it like that again. I felt very weird saying it like that. Go to New Orleans for it. None of us from the South say Nolans. That's just, yeah, it felt wrong coming out of my mouth both times just now. So, yeah, we constantly say we want to invent a time machine and go back and find that guy. It's New Orleans. It's not Nolans and it's not New Orleans. The only people that actually say New Orleans that have actually been there are musicians that are using it to rhyme with a previous word or post word in a song. Like, there is a house in New Orleans. They call it Rising Sun. You know what I'm saying? Like, they use it in songs. But no, we say New Orleans. And that's where that fight needs to happen, folks. Needs to happen in New Orleans, Louisiana. Needs to be the final dance for Dustin Poirier, the Diamond of Louisiana, of Lafayette, Louisiana at that. I love Ilya. I think he deserves a title shot, but not right away. And Anakin MMA. Hey, bro. Hitting you with the wave back, my friend. Anakin, shout out. Always dropping hot takes, but they're always factual stuff. Armin beats Topuria. You're right. I agree. I think Armin beats Topuria as well. But I also think that Dustin beats Topuria. Look, Ilya Topuria is known as a boxer these days, but fun fact, he entered the UFC as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. He didn't have any hands. He learned these hands in the last 3 to 5 years, right? Dustin Poirier, he's had these hands all day, and I think he's going to deliver these hands very quickly when it comes to Ilya Topuria. Shout out Boxing Blast in the chat on Instagram. Love to see it. Look, man, give me Dustin in this fight. I want to see Dustin fight in New Orleans for his last fight. And could you imagine, Nano, before we move on to the next topic, if he got the win over Ilya Topuria and then sailed off into the sunset in New Orleans? Brother, come on.
That'd be sick. Just to let him know, sit down, little boy. It ain't your time. This ain't your division. That would be fight of the year. I mean, the boxing that we'd see, y'all, would be absolutely next level. It'd be the elite of the league. Cream of the crop. Creme de la creme. Chocolat-vous.
I hate that you said creme de la creme because I was literally about to say the exact same thing.
I'm sorry. I took it all.
No. Don't apologize. The hive mind is just so real. It is so real, my friend. Yeah, I honestly love to see it, man. I love to see it. And with that being said, folks, we got to talk about the last bits of news here. So we've already talked about Bilal Muhammad versus Jackie Three Names, aka Jackie de la Madalena. We got to talk about the downgrade from Michael, I'll see you at the top, Chandler, coming in against Conor McGregor, and then no longer coming in against Conor McGregor. We lost Nano momentarily. He's going to come back. And instead of getting Conor McGregor, he basically gets Conor McGregor light. That's right. We got Paddy Pimblett, folks, coming in against Michael. See you at the top, Chandler. If Michael Chandler wins, it means nothing for him. But if Paddy wins, I agree with Anakin here. Paddy gets a win over Chandler. Boom. He gets into the title picture. If Chandler wins, I don't think it does anything for his career, his legacy, his anything. He is choosing fights at this point the same way that he is fighting in the octagon at this point, which is with pretty low fight IQ. Right, Nano? I just think he's going out there for a good time, not a long time. And that's fun, right? But it's maybe not the best way to go about your mixed martial arts career, which is a dangerous path, right? So, yeah, I don't like Chandler in this one. I think this might be the first time in my entire life, Nano, that I will bet for Paddy Pimblett. And you can get him at minus 120 right now, which is pretty much dead pick'em odds. What are you thinking on this fight between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett set to take place in Miami?
Absolute banger. Like I said, that card is shaping up to be maybe fight card of the year. I mean, through and through, it's absolutely stacked. But this is a fun one. A lot of intrigue. Before I dive in, Anakin MMA, with how Dustin sub Chandler, I picture the same way with Paddy. That is potentially what's going to happen here, right? I mean, the reality
the blueprint, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Paddy doesn't pose the same threats that Dustin does on his feet, but Paddy's youthful enough. He does have some good striking when it comes to, I mean, really, it's his kicks for me is what's going to maybe be the differentiator here is he going to be able to deploy his offensive game plan against a Michael Chandler? I mean, dude, Michael's tough, man. And when he gets going, I mean, we've seen what he's done to a Dan Hooker. Like, he's dropped to Charles Olives. I mean, he hurts people when he goes in there now. Like, he is not an easy night, not an easy walk in the park. Have you really seen Paddy be able to, weather that kind of storm? Have you seen him be able to take a heavy hit from someone like a Michael Chandler and be able to recover or stick to the game plan or get him off his game plan? I mean, Chandler, too, from a wrestling perspective, he's going to time it right. If he's trying to land leg kicks or whatever, he being Paddy, I mean, Chandler's going to try to grab a leg. He's going to go for the single leg. He's going to be ferocious with his game plan. But all things considered, man, you got to think Paddy's going to find a way to get it done. At least the UFC is hoping for it. I'm sure that part of the world is certainly going to be rooting for Paddy Pimblett. This is by far the biggest matchup of his career. Like Anakin saying, Paddy leaves his chin up. It's worrisome. Yeah, man. I mean, all it takes is one, especially with a Michael Chandler. He's dropping levels. He knows how to accurately land that overhand right. I mean, it can.
And to jump into that comment, sorry to cut in. To jump into that comment just a little bit more. Exactly what Anakin's saying here. Paddy leaving his chin up in the air is worrisome. And not only does he leave up his chin in the air, he doesn't leave it up when he's in defense. He doesn't leave it up when he's at distance. He leaves it up when he eats a strike, right? So when he's actually throwing strikes, he's usually here. He's got fundamentals, touch in the face. He's got a nice, I think he has like 2 ticks that I've noticed. I'm not going to talk about those, but he has like 2 ticks that I've noticed, as most fighters do. I like to talk about retired fighters' ticks because God forbid somebody watch my show and is like, that's how I'm going to beat his ass. He has this tick. That's when he pulls his guard up. That's how I know he's going to pull his guard down, etc. Rashad Evans, though, like used to touch his lips, and then that's what would remind him to keep his hands up. He'd touch his lips, then he'd put his hands up, touch his lips, put his hands up. And you could build a pattern off that, which is how John Jones basically sculpted a blueprint to beat him. Both men give off a lot of patterns, I'll be honest. The more predictable patterns are Michael Chandler. But the more dangerous patterns are Paddy Pimblett. When he eats a shot, there's something that we noticed in the Ronda Rousey fights when she actually fought a very proficient striker or proficient strikers in her career. She would eat a shot, and most people, like when you eat a shot, right? As soon as you eat it, goal is to get your fucking hands glued to your head, right? You get your knuckles because you're in those 4-ounce gloves glued to your eyebrow line essentially because it's protecting the temples, and you keep these sucked into the body because, as one of my favorite Muay Thai coaches used to say, We are fighting. We're not flying, right? Chickens, they keep their wings out at the side. Fighters, they keep them in guard. So you're nice and tight. So when you eat those shots, you want to stay nice and tight. You want to stay on the inside there. But when Patty eats a shot, he does this or this, right? He raises his chin because he eats a shot and he thinks if I raise my chin and move my head back, almost like the way a breakdancer does, right? If he raises his chin and moves his head back, that's good head movement and he's outside of range. Somebody like Chandler that he sprints forward, throwing massive overhands ad nauseum, right? He's just launching these things. It's worrisome, at the very least, as Anakin pointed out. So it's not a safe bet. It's definitely not a safe bet. It's farthest thing from a safe bet. But gun to my head early on, give me Paddy Pimblett. I like him in this fight. I think he catches a submission, just as Anakin also said. Look, he said, without Dustin sub Chandler, I picture the same way with Paddy. I completely agree. And to what you said, or to what Anakin said, rather, Dustin and Ilya being fight of the year, legendary, is what Sav was responding to. Yeah, you're right. Got to address the chat in Instagram. I don't know how to pull these up on the actual chat board, but I digress. We got Hiram in the chat. Let's hit this man with some freaking air horns. I don't think I ever see him in the chat. Chandler by devastating KO to justify wasting another year waiting for Connor. Oh boy, wouldn't that be something? And then we've got Romeo in the chat. Romeo7907 saying, agreed. It just keeps Chandler active. Nothing for his legacy if he wins over Patty. Oh, he wins over Patty. Ooh. So he thinks he wins, but he agrees with us that it does nothing for his legacy. Well, man, thanks for the hot take there. And we appreciate you all in the chat. We have a lot of people pouring into the Instagram live stream now. War Fuzzy Puppies, It's Rosa09, and Ring Girl for the influencer boxing scene, Rican Baby 00 joining. We appreciate you all being here, folks. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube, at MMAnomaly on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, folks. And the last but certainly not least, I think this might be one of my favorite bits of news that we got last night, Nano. We got some breaking news here, my friend, to go over. And again, this is by far the fight that I am most excited about. That's right, folks. We have breaking news from Dana White himself. We have Yair Rodriguez coming in against Pitbull. That's right. Patricio Pitbull has officially signed with the UFC and is set to make his UFC debut April the 12th in Miami, Florida, folks. Nano, take the lead on this one, my friend. Who do you have winning this one? And I mean, just what level of 1 to 10? What's the scale? What's the level of excitement for this?
Scale of 1 to 10, it's somewhere around a 7 or 8 for sure. I'm excited for it, but with all the other news coming out, it definitely was more of an undernote as it was more of a headline in terms of yesterday's announcements. But listen, man, Patricio Pitbull is an absolute dog. He's someone that has fought a Michael Chandler way back when. He's, I guess we can call him just, Bellator's Bella the Ball, right? He's probably the best guy to come out of there since a Michael Chandler. And why not put him up against one of the best that the UFC has to offer in a Yair Rodriguez, si se puede, my boy. I'm all for. I mean, I'm a homer, so I'm going with the UFC guy here. But listen, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Patricio Pitbull is not close to a Ben favorite or potentially a pick'em. He poses a lot of threats. I mean, he is strong, tough as nails. At this stage in his career, what injuries has he gotten? Is he used to fighting this kind of level of competition that Yair has, right? I mean, he's getting thrown right into the lion's den. But give me the UFC brass. Give me the guy that's been there, done it, and Yair Rodriguez. Si se puede, my Mexicano brother, my amigo. But what do you think, brother? I mean, do you think this new shiny toy here in the UFC can potentially make some ruckus, like the Michael C at the top Chandler kind of did for his, short career thus far? Talk to us, man. How you feel about this one?
Man. Well, I think this could definitely make waves for both men's careers. For Pitbull, he's coming out of Bellator fame, and I guess PFLator fame, if you want to call it that now. But the man is definitely looking to get a leg up and get a legacy up in the UFC, right? A lot of folks, we've seen it recently, are begging for their release from PFL and Bellator, or rather PFL now that Bellator has liquidated to an extent. But man, these folks are they're looking for a fight in the UFC, and it looks like the UFC is definitely game to give it to him. Yeah, Anakin. Yair versus Pitbull, baby. I'm excited about it, my friend. And I think it is going to be an absolute banger. I'm worried for Yair because he's a true grappler. Or no, sorry, a true striker. And Pitbull is a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's somebody that has fights over a who's who outside of the UFC. And I don't think that the UFC bright lights are going to get to a Pitbull the way that they might get to a Yair. So, I mean, Yair's been here before. I almost have to go with him in this one. And again, like looking at the odds, what are the odds for this one right now? Do we have odds yet?
I don't think so.
That makes me wonder if this one's actually officially signed on the dotted line. What do you think? Do you think it's a rumored fight, or do you think this is a real one?
Maybe just because it's not like the main event. Maybe that's why it's not come out just yet. But I thought Dana White said it in that. I mean, obviously he came out with a lot of news. I don't know if maybe that was just thrown in as speculation, but certainly I'm assuming that's live. I don't think he would announce that if it wasn't, but maybe DraftKings just might be a little bit behind on this one, which is fair. They might need a little more time to think about it. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's more competitive than we're thinking. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, I'm not seeing it yet.
I'm wondering what the opening odds on this one are going to be. And I don't know, man. I feel like it's got to be Yair as the favorite, right? But even that, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, we assume so, but man, I mean, Pitbull did knock out Michael Chandler, so it's like maybe they're looking at it that way, as this guy's strong, tough, possesses a lot of power. It could be a pick 'em, something close. Wouldn't doubt it.
Absolutely. And folks, with that, that's the news, folks. I mean, we could realistically do this for hours. We love talking to you. We love being live and chatting with you folks about mixed martial arts and all the news, giving you our takes. Look, if you're watching this live, do us a favor. As soon as the show wraps up, like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Smash that bell for notifications and leave a little post-show comment. It really helps with the algorithm, which we all bow down to. If you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on Twitter, we've got a load of you watching on Twitter, over 70 right now on Twitter alone. Coming over to YouTube. It'd mean the world to us, and we'd really appreciate the support. It would really help the channel grow. Same with all you folks on Instagram. And look, we appreciate you if you did shots with us. We appreciate you if you didn't. We appreciate you for being here more than anything. But above all else, the one thing we ask, and we'd really appreciate if you do, keep on going and keep on growing, folks. We'll see you next episode.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.